We have kept go the introductory things while we're waiting for other people to join. My name's Graham Dougal. I'm from the Lake Ontario Offshore Racing that's presenting this webinar. And we have tonight Megan Medlock from Ontario Sailing, who is going to be helping us discuss two services that are interest to people who are participating in LOOR events. So we'll now get going. And there's a small number of people, just jump in if you have any questions anytime. Whoops. Just that this is being recorded and we'll put it on YouTube and distribute it to the attendees so you know what we're talking about. Lake Ontario Offshore Racing is an organization out of Port Credit that runs a number of offshore races, offshore being anything that's not inshore. Some of them are overnight and some of them are during the day. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Right now, it's just myself here from LOOR. Megan can talk about Ontario Sailing.
Thank you. Yeah, basically, I hope most of you are familiar with Ontario Sailing, but Ontario Sailing is the provincial sport organization for sailing in the province. We are dedicated to developing lifelong sailors. Our staff and volunteer work in partnership to champion the sport of sailing across the province. So we're happy to be here and support events like this.
So one other key point is there aren't individual members in Ontario Sailing. Yacht clubs are members of Ontario Sailing. And because they're a member of Ontario Sailing, they're also a member of Sail Canada. So because Ontario Sailing is the provincial sailing organization and Sail Canada is the member national authority for sailing in Canada.
Don't walk around.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that, Graham. That's great.
Well, it comes important when you come to the rules and all sorts of things like that. So we won't be spending tonight. We talked with Megan. One of the things that LOOR has is ambassadors at the clubs. So if you have any questions that come up, you can send them to Megan or I, or you can talk to the local ambassador at your yacht club if you're a member of the yacht club. One of the things we'll talk about that Ontario Sailing provides is the personal offshore courses. Okay, Megan?
So yeah, there are two different courses we offer in terms of safety courses. So one is the coastal personal survival course, and the other is the offshore personal survival course. So the first one, the coastal personal survival course, this is a Sail Canada course. It's a one-day course. It has both classroom components and components on about kind of hands-on learning. It focuses on personal safety issues, preparing you to effectively handle emergencies out in the water. Some of the topics covered would be the weather, the safety gear, sometimes the safety gear that we have on boats so we don't always put into practice, looking at hypothermia and cold water emergency, as well as emergency communications. This course is considered it's a Sail Canada approved course for Category 3 events. So when, as Graham indicated earlier, when we have a conversation about deciding what course, whether the coastal course or the personal survivor or the offshore course makes sense, this is the Category 3 course. This course, upon completion of the course, you are certified, and that certification is valid for 5 years.
Okay.
The other option is the offshore personal survival course. So this course is a world sailing course, and Sail Canada is authorized to offer it and has approved Ontario Sailing as one of the course providers for this course. This course is a 2-day course. Again, it involves both classroom-based and hands-on components. There is a recommended textbook for it and some reading required in advance of the course. But it's 2 days, and again, it's talking about emergency situations, but also some hands-on work with flares, with fire extinguishers. The course conductors show lots of the different safety equipment used in these situations. A portion of this course is actually done in a pool where you wear your foul weather gear and life jacket or PFD, and you actually inflate a life raft and practice getting into it and experiencing what that would be like. Again, this certification is granted through World Sailing, so your certificate is a World Sailing certificate, and it is valid for 5 years. So as we talk about deciding what course is right for you, I believe Graham's going to talk about the phase in of how LOOR is phasing in. But as a Category 3 event, the coastal, the 1 day course might be a good option. If you're looking at events that you might be doing in the next 5 years, if you have some events that are Category 2, offshore events, then you might decide that the offshore course is the right course for you in terms of giving you more options to do other events. And probably the best way is, if there are events that you're interested in, is looking at the sailing instructions to see what the required level of certification is for those events. This is just an overview of our courses we're offering in 2023. So the coastal course, you can see it's less expensive because it's the 1 day course. There is still space in the Whitby Clinic on May 7th. And because the other 2 courses are waitlisted and the demand, we are working to try and set up another course for the fall of 2023. The offshore course, we currently have a course running in Kingston starting tomorrow. So that's obviously not an option, but we do have one scheduled at Royal Canadian Yacht Club in September, the 2 day course. And again, the cost for that course is $550 plus HST. Registration for these courses are done on our website through course registration. I only show this because our website is sometimes challenged to navigate. And then the offshore courses, you can find them under the drop-down menu. I think on the next slide, Graham, there is a tab for the offshore and coastal personal survival courses if you're interested in registering for either of those courses.
Okay. Now we'll go over a little more the nitty-gritty and the complications. The Sail Canada prescriptions for Category 3 require 30% of the crew, including the person in charge, to have taken at least a coastal personal survival course starting in 2023. So if you have an event in Canada that is using the offshore special regulations with the Sail Canada prescriptions unmodified, then the crew and the person in charge for a total of 30% have to take the course. LOOR has believed that it's impractical to get that number of people trained for 2023. So we're having a phase in. So the phase in is in 2023. It's not a requirement, but if you do meet the 30% requirement, we'll have a prize, because there is a way on yacht scoring of indicating that you've taken the course, and we'll look at that. In 2024, we'll require 15% of the crew, and in 2025, it'll require the full Sail Canada prescription of 30% of the crew, including the person in charge. So that should give it time for people to take the courses over the next 2 years to get meet the requirements for the Category 3. Category 3 for LOOR is anything that's overnight, which is the Lake Ontario 300, the Susan Hood, and the Lake Ontario single-handed racing series overnight race. Now, it's important, as Megan said, to understand the difference between them. The Coastal Personal Survival course is a Sail Canada course only. It follows a lot of the material offered by World Sailing, but it does not meet any World Sailing criteria that you might need for a category 2 or 1 or 0 race that you might want to be in. They require the offshore course, which is the 2-day. So you need to think about what you plan to do in the next 5 years. If you might be involved in any category 2 races, then it might be a good idea to take the offshore 2-day course. And if you're only ever going to be doing the category 3 races in Canada, then the 1-day coastal course will work. So just a quick here, has anybody ever taken any of the courses? You can come off mute and talk about them.
It's Mark Lewis. No, I haven't taken one of those courses. That was the purpose of joining this, was just understand the requirements.
Yeah. No, I've taken the 1-day personal survival course, and it's both theoretical, going over that, and practical. The 2 practical points are trying to get a dummy on your boat, because and it turns out to be a lot harder than you expect. So that's simulating trying to recover a semi-conscious person that's gone overboard. The other practical part, which surprised everybody, was checking out your inflatable PFD, doing manual inflation to make sure it works, learning how to pack it, learning how to find out whether it's still good, how the expiries work, and how you would go about having to change whatever is needed depending on the inflation method. And they talked about the various inflation methods. So I think everybody who take the course I was in had never really ever checked their PFD to make sure it was still valid and would work, or knew how to test to make sure it didn't have any leaks. So that's probably an important thing just there to take the course. So back to anybody else that taken these courses. Does anybody have any questions about them? If you come up with a question later or don't understand something, you can email me or Megan. So that's one service that Ontario Sailing does. It sponsors the 2 Sail Canada personal survival courses. And again, by 2025, 30% of the crew involved in the Susan Hood or the Lake Ontario 300 will have had to take that course. And we'll be checking it, because you get a certificate, and when you register through Yacht Scoring, you can list that and we can check it. Again, I would encourage everybody to, if you're going to take the course, sign up early, because we have the chicken and the egg situation of Ontario Sailing doesn't know the demand, and there's a restricted number of course conductors. So scheduling the courses that may be needed over the next couple of years is going to be problematic. So if you need it, I want to take it, please sign up. Either the one that's that are coming up, and they'll be added again as needed and as instructors are available. The other requirement is that to race under the racing rules of sailing, you have to be affiliated with the member national authority, which is Sail Canada. So if you're a member of a yacht club that's a member of Ontario Sailing, that covers it. But there are a number of people that want to race, especially in the 300 or the Susan Hood, that may not be a member of a yacht club. So Megan can talk about the other service that Ontario Sailing provides.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so because we are a club-based membership organization, what we have developed is the Maple Leaf Fund, which I believe we have some details on the next slide. And basically, it's an opportunity, if you are not a member of a member organization of Ontario Sailing and then in turn Sail Canada, you can register for what is called the Maple Leaf Fund, and that gives you the right to race. It is also a way of supporting sailing in the province. Once you have paid your registration fee for the Maple Leaf Fund, you are issued a digital certificate that provides you with the right to race. Memberships run April to March. So please don't register this week. Hold off till the first week of March when we'll have our new registration period open up, and that will give you the right to race for that 12-month calendar year or 12-month period. And the fee is $31.50 for that. So very reasonable way to get the right to race. I just have an image of the digital certificate. So you can see it. And again, if you don't already have a Sail Canada number, we will help you. We'll get you issued a Sail Canada number, which will be is how that's tracked. And again, those Sail Canada numbers is also how this training and certification is tracked in terms of the offshore and coastal. When you complete one of those courses, that training and certification, in addition to the digital certificate provide for those courses, it's also kept a record of it on your Sail Canada profile attached to your Sail Canada number. And again, registration for this is also done through our website. Again, it's under the course registrations, and then we have a separate category called all other registrations where you can find that registration piece. So again, if you're already a member of a member yacht club or sailing school, then you already are a member of Ontario Sailing and Sail Canada. If you're not affiliated with a member organization, then this is how you can gain your membership and right to race.
Yeah, and again, we checked people who register for LOOR to make sure they comply with this. So we often have gone back to people and asked them what yacht club they belong to, and they say, no, I belong to a marina, and we point them to the Maple Leaf Club so they can actually race in the 300 or whatever event it is. And we've actually come across a number of yacht clubs that are not a member of Ontario Sailing, so they don't qualify to race because they aren't a member of Sail Canada indirectly. So again, that's another reason to join the Maple Leaf Fund. If you belong to a yacht club for whatever reason, isn't a member of Ontario Sailing. Again, the other thing is, once you've joined the Maple Leaf Club, this means you have the right to race anywhere in the world that's using the racing rules of sailing, because you meet the criteria that's required around the world. So if you wanted to race in the US, this will do that. Like, in other words, if you want to do the Chicago MAC or the Bayview MAC, and you met the other criteria, this would qualify for it. So are there any questions? Are people involved and had to do this? It doesn't usually come up in regattas, but it does come up and for many of the offshore races, because there are people at marinas that may want to participate in that type of racing. So there is this service available from Ontario Sailing that allows you to meet the regular rules and participate. There is the contact information for Megan. World Sailing numbers count. No, not necessarily. Because it depends. If you were in the US, you can join US sailings and an individual, and that would give you the right to race. In Canada, none of the provincial sailing organizations have individual membership, as I understand it. So you have to belong to a yacht club, and that was a constraint that Ontario Sailing overcame by having the Maple Leaf Fund. You can get a World Sailing number, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you are a member of a yacht club. It could be in other places in the world that you are a member of a class association that is affiliated with a member national authority. Sail Canada has an extra prescription to the racing rules of sailing that say the person in charge of a boat, if a resident in Canada, must be a member of a yacht club that is affiliated with Sail Canada, or the equivalent Ontario Sailing's Maple Leaf Fund. So you could have a World Sailing number and not still meet the criteria to be able to race. So that's what, one of the reasons why we want to explain that. So you get the World Sailing number, and that is your competitor number, not necessarily that you are eligible. unless you joined a class association in other countries or a yacht club in Canada, including the Maple Leaf Fund. So are there any other questions about that? You also could have taken a Sail Canada course, get a Sail Canada number, like you take a cruising course from a authorized sailing school. So you get a Sail Canada number so you can track your profile. But that doesn't count unless you've joined a yacht club or the Ontario Sailing Maple Leaf Fund.
Yes, and if you are joining through the Maple Leaf Fund and you have an existing Sail Canada number, we match that up so you don't end up with two numbers. So yes, if you have an existing profile, we attach this membership or this Maple Leaf Fund affiliation to your existing Sail Canada profile.
Okay. You can sign up for the LOOR newsletter by just going to www.loor.ca/subscribe. And that allows you to unsubscribe whenever you want to. We'd just like to thank our sponsors. Now, do you have any other questions that you want to ask about the things we've discussed tonight, the personal survival courses, the Maple Leaf Fund, or any of the other services that LOOR or Ontario Sailing provides? Here's a chance to go ahead. If not, I'd like to thank everybody for joining and hopefully see you out in the water. Again, if you have any questions, you can contact us. That's how you can contact LOOR, or Megan has put her information in chat. Okay. And again, this is the joining the Maple Leaf Fund. If you know about it, it's quite easy. You can find it on the website. Okay, and hopefully you can understand and decide on which personal survival course meets your need and choose the right one, because we don't want somebody to say, oh, I'll take the 1-day course, and then in 2 years just realize they really should have taken the 2-day course and now have to pay for 3 days. So that's why we're asking everybody to think about what they're going to be doing in the next 5 years.
And Graham, that's really helpful. Thank you. And I guess the other issue, if people after seeing this presentation are really keen on one of the courses, for example, those 2 that are waitlisted, if they can please even put their name on the wait list, and then that way I can notify individuals if we're able to add a course in September, or if it turns out that it's not until next spring, we'll make sure we get everybody, capture people's information, and let them know about the courses that we're offering.
Okay. Again, any last chance for questions or comments or feedback?
No, it was fairly clear. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. If not, I'll say good night to everybody and see you on the water. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Good night. Thanks.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
Thank you.